I'd rather you get mad at me and go to heaven.
Just rising up out of my body. Dying was just very painless.
By the time I got there, I was virtually dead. I almost bled to death.
The angels took Daniel by his shoulders and lifted him out of the ambulance.
And suddenly I was pulled out of my body, and I found myself falling through the air, and I landed in a prison cell in hell.
I was caught up in a real massive swirling funnel-shaped cloud.
Some group of people, thousands of people, were being sent into hell.
This force or whatever that was sucking them back down in the pit. They kept getting sucked back down. These people, they tried to crawl up.
So I beg you, because you're going to go to an eternal hell forever and ever and ever, and I don't want you to do that.
15, if anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. Look.
All through the Bible, when there was a great move of God, great things were told to people by angels, right?
Yes, yes.
And God is doing that thing today. He is bringing forth messages from the throne of God to this earth.
If most of us go on a vacation, we check out the sites, the hotels, the restaurants, we do some investigation. But yet most people do no investigation on where they're going to go after they die.
He got up with a broken 16-ounce glass bottle and started stabbing me. By the time I got there, I was virtually dead. I almost bled to death. The ambulance, I thought, blew up. I mean, it caught on fire, and the thing filled full of smoke, and I thought it was an electrical fire. My body felt like it began to just come up off the gurney and float away. I'm looking into what looked like the open mouth of a volcanic crater, and I'm falling into this thing with no help.
How does someone enter hell?
Through a gateway. There's gateways called tunnels. They're kind of like tunnels or tornadoes, and they spin around and back again in the atmosphere.
A group of people, thousands of people, were being sent into hell.
Whatever that was sucking them back down in the pit. They kept getting sucked back down. These people, they
actually descend down this gateway into hell.
I was feeling like really guilty, feeling like, how can I call myself a Christian? I'm still living in sin.
I was living as a hypocrite. I was doing whatever I wanted, and I never repented. So God showed me a warning that hell is real.
And then when that happened, this portal just came right up here, huge one. And then what happened was it was just this portal of fire swirling around or whatever, and people were immediately just screaming, trying to get out of it. And I just saw it was terrifying.
The moment I heard him screaming and I heard that Pastor is dead, I knew he's my husband.
The angels took Daniel by his shoulders and lifted him out of the ambulance.
For me to look up, I saw two angels. After checking everything, he now confirmed that I was totally dead. He now gave them certificate that they should remove me. You can see it here, say, remove for mortuary.
Daniel, if the book of your life was to be closed today, this would be your portion.
No.
And suddenly I was pulled out of my body, and I found myself falling through the air, and I landed in a prison cell in hell. And this prison cell was filthy, stinking.
And the stench is awful. And
the smells in hell are so foul and putrid and disgusting. worse than anything you can ever imagine, like the worst open sewer, bad eggs, rotten milk, everything, again, times 1,000.
What were you able to smell?
The smell of stench of sewers, smell of burning rotten flesh.
Dirty, smoke-filled.
So full of smoke, I can't breathe.
I'll demonstrate to you. This is how you breathe in hell. It was like... and that's as much air as you could get.
The air was so thin you could hardly breathe.
Well, you don't have enough air to breathe in hell. You have to fight and gasp for even the tiniest bit of air. Rough-hewn stone walls and bars. Isaiah 24:22 says, "And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison." And this is where I could first see people. I was listening to the screams all this time. It is so loud and deafening in hell.
The awful part is the cries of the dead. The moans and the groans of the regret because they missed Jesus.
Because in whatever condition we end this life or in the Lord's coming, in that condition we eternally remain. There is no remedy. There's a finality.
When I saw these people or whatever, they were trying to reach out of this pit to me, screaming.
Daniel could hear the crying and wailing of many people.
They were in different nations, okay, different languages, but
they were from every race, culture, and nationality.
Me over next to this pit of fire, this raging pit of fire that was about a mile across, enormous pit with flames raging high up into this open cavern, and it was brimstone falling and like lava falling from above.
And there was a place where people's souls that just died on earth came, and they were thrown into liquid boiling fire mixed with hot lava. And this was the judgment of God upon the abominables.
There were people literally inside this pit, in the flames burning.
Shall men seek death and shall not find it? They shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them.
Psalms 140 verse 10 says, "Let burning coals fall upon them. Let them be cast into the fire, into deep pits."
But in hell, there was huge thousands and thousands of people burning in miles and miles. I could see 50 miles back, as close as here, of souls burning that was adulteresses and fornicators and liars in the compartments in different areas, all in hell.
God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing.
I saw people that died of drug overdoses and died drunk.
Well, their bones were charred red, and they would scream and scream, saying, "No man cares for my soul."
Yeah, it was like rotting flesh, but it was...
That, I began to see people in this fire, burning, but they're not burning up.
They were being tortured.
I'm a pastor. I stole money from the church and I lied. Help me, please. I'm ready to repay.
Will you remind them that people pray in hell, but nobody ever answers?
Screaming at me and calling my name and telling me to go back, to not come there. There's no escape. There's no way out.
And they would say, warn the people not to come here. And most of the people in hell would scream that. Tell my family not to come to hell. Tell them to accept the Messiah as their Savior. That's what they would say.
He asking me, please, help, help. That's all I could remember is them saying, help, help, help me. And they were just reaching out.
The cistern chapel will be blown to smithereens, but the soul of a man will live forever and